Ciao Juventini, and thank you for joining me again. And this one is a special podcast. It is one of the pop-up podcasts, so we're not going to dive into anything specific. I have a Juventino, a great Juventino, that reached out to me that wanted to discuss some topics that he come up with. And again, this podcast is made for all of us Juventini, and I've always said it. The match day podcast might be filled, but if you ever have something you just want to get off your chest or you just want to discuss Juve, I'm always game for it. So joining me today, making his debut on the All Juve cast, Abdulrahman, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing very well, thank you, and I'm very excited to do this.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I've given you free reins. You've come up with some great topics, and we're going to have some fun discussing them. So, real quick before we get into it, there's a tradition around here, and it's when you make your debut on the podcast. I love finding out everyone's story on how they became fans of Juventus, and I'd love to hear yours, Abdul.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's special or anything, but when I was younger, I just watched the domestic league in Saudi Arabia. That's where I'm from, and I wasn't really exposed to European football or international football as much as I'd like to, and most of the leagues I was exposed to was Spanish, Dutch, French, and a bit of English at the time. So I think one day I watched some random clips from Calcio. I think it was Juventus and Palermo or something like that. And I think I was just more compelled to watching Serie A as opposed to the Dutch or the French league and the Spanish league. I was more attracted to the tactical aspect of the game. And I think this was during 2004, 2003. So it was really at the peak of Serie A at that time. And the reason I chose Juventus, I had no idea about the history and all of that. So one of the reasons was the global outreach. I think compared to other leagues, Serie A could do better in global outreach. And one of my favorite players was, and still is, Gigi Buffon. And also because I enjoy playing as a goalkeeper. So I looked up to him. And that's it.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, some guests have always said, it's nothing very special, but it is special, because it's your own story. It's how you
Mm.
became a part of this Juve community that we're all trying to build and band together and reach out to supporters worldwide. So that's great, man. Thanks for sharing. And we're gonna get right into it. We're not gonna waste any time here. You've come up with some good topics. The first one we're going to touch
Yeah.
on is Maurizio Sarri. And I want to get you to kick us off with Sarri and what your thoughts are exactly and what you wanted to discuss.
Well, Maurizio Sarri has always been a interesting figure, in my opinion. And I can't think of many people who were very excited at him being appointed as Juventus manager, and it's mainly because many people were expecting or daydreaming of Guardiola, and another reason was the way he handles the press. It's not just something new with Juventus, but he's always been very eccentric and very. He just says whatever that comes to his mind. Yeah, the guy has no filter, and. Mainly at the beginning, I had issues with him not changing his style or not changing whatever that doesn't work like really quickly. for example, Bernardeschi never worked as a trequartista, or he's still not doing whatever Bernardeschi is supposed to be doing. And playing Aaron Ramsey as a trequartista never really worked. But if you ask me about him today, I think he's really managed to step up his game, and he's been picking the right formations, and he's been trying to be more diplomatic with the press and the media and all that. But I think he still has a long way to go. And another factor that nobody or not many people have thought of is his personal health, and when he got the pneumonia news. And I think we should have considered this as a factor that's detrimental to his, I don't know, his ability to be more successful in the team. And if you ask me about the guy today, I think he's really improved and he's doing a lot better. And I think he's scored more points compared to Allegri and Conte at this time of the season. The only downside is he lost two competitions to, I don't want to say inferior teams, but they kind of are lesser teams on paper, and he had the advantage.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think
Sure.
if we didn't have the COVID break and we left off that match with Merda, do you think we would have been better off than having the break and now trying to regain? Do you think he was starting to get that rhythm then and starting to figure out his lineup and personnel usage?
Yeah, I think one of the only good things that came to Juventus from that COVID outbreak was Sarri has a lot more time to just reflect and think of what's going on during the season, what's working, what's not working. And also we dealt with so many unfortunate injuries like Demiral, Chiellini, Douglas Costa. Douglas Costa, I shouldn't be counting him, but it's still, I think they would have really made a huge difference. And I think with this short break, he really managed to pick himself up and really pick the right formation and pick the right personnel. And also, we've noticed Rabiot is getting back on track, and that's something I want to see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rabiot has put in a couple of good shifts. Speaking of Bernardeschi, Bernardeschi actually is on some good performances now. He's actually strung a few together now, and he's actually looking more effective. The team is actually altogether kind of coming up, and there's, it might have a lot to do with just the continuity, and it is something that Sarri spoke of, and he said recently, these guys just need continuity. Speaking of Rabiot, he made mention about perhaps everybody being a little too hard on him because he was coming from PSG with an extended period of time where he was not playing, and that it would just take time. I think we got our hopes up because in the preseason, Rabiot was fantastic. He looked ready to go, unbelievable. But then something shifted. Rabiot still, to me, lacks the attitude that's required to be at Juventus. I see a lot of just whining, complaining calls, and sometimes a little too soft. I think he needs a little bit more of that fight in him. That could be said though for a few of our players, to be honest. So nothing really just to pick on Rabiot, but yeah, Sarri's the continuity is going a long way. I kind of share your sentiments exactly. Everybody knows it. I was frustrated at how long we were watching things fail. I got frustrated with this Coppa Italia because we were going Ronaldo centrally when we know it doesn't work. I thought Dybala should be that central role. But yeah, I mean, sorry, maybe that Coppa Italia loss was the one. I mean, we saw him breaking down in tears on the bench there. That hurt me from a human aspect. I mean, I think his story's great, and maybe that was a turning point. I think there's also something else that was a big turning point that's happened recently. But I'm going to save that little tidbit for because I got something special coming. I'm going to hang on to that one. But I do agree with you essentially with everything. Sorry. I do see some changes happening. And I mean, honestly, in a short period of time, I think it's great that we can see that maybe he is starting to adjust himself to the club he's being a part of. One thing we will leave off this sorry topic with is, do you keep him if we come out trophyless?
That's a difficult one.
It
Some,
is. It's
yeah,
difficult because we don't want to set a standard where we accept that at Juventus. However, we are transitioning as a club. So it
yeah,
is a difficult one. It's a very, very difficult one. I'm curious to hear your answer.
yeah. I just want to add something real quick about Sari. Um, I really like what he did with Dybala this season. It seems like Dybala took the form Bernardeschi was in last season with Allegri, and vice versa. And also what he did with Cuadrado. Cuadrado was a utility player at best, and he turned him into a very decent right back. Imagine if he wasn't there and we had to endure Danilo or Di Chilio on the sidelines. So I
Well,
tip my hat to
it
that one.
wouldn't even be able to happen because we have no cover for Sandro, and DeCilio can't stay healthy on his own. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't happen had he not done that. So yeah.
yeah, we'd probably see more Matuidi on the
But
wing.
yeah, sorry, trophy list. Do you keep him?
Uh, it all depends on who's available. If there's a Guardiola or any coach who I think can really help us, yeah, I'd sack him and make the change.
Let me change the question. We figure out an identity. We play great football, but we
Yeah,
come out trophyless. Do you still keep him?
I might say yes. Yeah,
Yeah. See, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's
yeah,
we have to look at this. It's very, very hard, and it's very difficult because I am so against setting a subpar standard and accepting defeat without change or anything. But I said this recently, and if we come out with one trophy out of these final two, it's going to be a successful year, transitioning for Sarri and whatnot. But if we finish off the year, Jekyll and Hyde performances, and we come out trophyless, I think you end it. That's just my opinion.
yeah.
Now, let's get to another one of your topics. These are all your topics, which are great, but the team itself, how we play and whatnot. Transfers. It's all about transfers right now. Everybody's talking about how we're going to improve and what we're going to do. We know about one transfer that's complete. We will get into that one after, but I want to get your take on
Yeah.
some transfers. What you're thinking, what you'd like to see realistically.
Yeah. So transfers has always been painful. You have to go through that summer and just hope to keep your best players and get the best. But realistically speaking, after getting Artur, I think logically we should just focus on a left central mid. That's number one for me. And the second position to reinforce, I would pick a striker, a Regista for number three, and a right back if we find someone who has the quality.
Yeah.
Only four players.
See,
We don't need that much.
yeah, and I I'm pretty much in the same. I mean, the question was raised and it said, "What's our priority now with Arthur being signed?" And I said, "Still for me, midfield. We still need one more. He alone is
Yeah.
not enough. We need one more key midfielder signing. As far as the Regista goes, in that position. Now, this is where it gets interesting because I'm seeing a lot of projected lineups out there that have Arthur playing in that role, but I don't see it. I see him being out as a Metsala. I don't think he's played um,
Yeah.
as Regista. And at Barcelona, I know they have De Jong and they have Busquets and then Arthur and obviously Vidal and stuff. And I know that they're pretty fluid in their midfield and they're all capable of rotating in and out of slots. But for the most part, Busquets has held down that role. So I see Arthur coming in not as being that Regista for the exact switch for Pjanic. I see him being as a Mitsala. I think Bentancur is going to be our guy that plays ahead of the defense, and that makes the most sense to me. Um, from what I've heard about Arthur and just the glimpses that I've caught here and there, that makes the most sense. So to me, I agree with you. We need that left-sided midfielder. That's key. And then yes, someone that could play centrally up top, that striker. After that, I'd probably say, obviously, like this is where it gets a little interesting with all the transfers because now we're starting to see after this Artur deal, we're selling a lot of the youngsters, right? And this is where that plus
Yeah.
Valenza comes in. But Pellegrini, for me, Luca Pellegrini, we bring him in. We bring him in
Yeah.
as left back. And then I say we go right back. So I'm kind of with you, 3 players, but I think we go left mid, striker, and right back. And then obviously make some moves because to have a right back, Quadrado, Deschilio, Danilo, like somebody's got to go, right? So they've got to make some decisions there. There's a lot of transfer gossip all the time involving players. The latest one is you got to take it with a pinch of salt, but it's Griezmann. The latest rumor is Rabiot and Costa for Griezmann. Now, it's funny, and I love talking and speculating just hypothetically. Um, but this one, I mean, I don't really know. I don't really know because I can't see it regardless because I can't see Griezmann taking such a huge hit on his wages. His wages are ridiculous. Barcelona has set themselves up for exactly what's happening right now. You know,
Yeah.
Juve is kind of in the same boat. We have cleanup to do, but Barca is they're hurting because for those of you who don't know, Griezmann makes 17 million euros. So that's ridiculous. I can't see a move for that ever happening, so I'm just going to shut it down right there. Him as a player, would he help Juve? I think he would, but I don't know. He's not exactly where I would be looking personally. But that's it.
Yeah.
You talk about Regista and whatnot. We're going to talk on the deal that has gone through. I want to get your thoughts on Arthur and Pjanic, but Regista role in itself, you wanted to talk about just Juventus and the Regista role. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, I think as Juventus fans, we're very obsessed with this word, regista. I think we're doing fine with Bentancur, and everyone's very sentimental, and everyone wants to see Pirlo or someone who looks like Pirlo, Tonali, taking that role without even watching the guy play. I mean, the player is quality, but I I really see this Juve being fluid enough to play without having the traditional mezzala or regista. They can play in so many different formations. But since Sarri is very adamant on a regista, I only see like 3 possible players on my mind, which are Jorginho for obvious reasons, Tonali, and Verratti. And I don't see Verratti leaving PSG anytime soon, and PSG doesn't really need to sell to Juve. The only logical player would be Jorginho. Tonali, I think, I don't know. I think he's closer to Inter as we speak. So I'm leaning towards Jorginho.
Yeah, I don't think the Jorginho thing will happen. It seems like it's a long shot, anyways. Tonali, this is the thing for me is I think Tonali would be a stellar pickup because of the years he has ahead and the fact that he could play behind Bentancur. And he would get more time than I think he's going to get at Merida. Merida's flooded their midfield. That is how Conte builds his teams. He's done well. He's got good players, but it is flooded there. It's a traffic jam. So I'd be surprised if Tonali does make that move and go there. I understand the project is enticing too. Everybody wants to dethrone Juventus. It's easier for our rivals to use that as a selling point, especially when you have a coach who's a player's coach. Conte, players love playing for Conte. They do. So they've got an interesting project they're building there. For us and Regista, this role again, we're not going to get away from it with Sarri. So we have to go with it, ride it out. I see Bentancur being that guy, but we need someone else that's also capable of doing it. And right now, I think we're lacking that. People say Arthur can. That'll be obviously we'll wait and see because that's to be determined. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think Tonali should be somebody Juve goes after and tries to snag. I mean, the price tag's not horrible, and it'll be interesting. We've talked about these guys enough. Arthur and Pjanic, this deal, the hottest topic around. It's very, very strange because usually things like this don't happen. You don't get a transfer that is completed and done with those players staying on those respected clubs until the season end, and there's this many games still to happen. So that doesn't happen. So it's a very, very unique and strange situation. But let's start off with your thoughts, Abdul, on what you think about this swap. I mean, I see it as a huge win for Juve. I mean, everybody has this as a win for Juve. And it'd be hard to really look at it any other way when you factor in the positive on the books. 7 years difference in terms of age of the player, resale value because of his age. Like it's just I see it as a win. But let's get you to speak on this swap deal here.
Yeah, like you said, I think this is a win in every angle you see it. Specifically the age difference, and whatever happens, the player is still gonna have resale value. And I haven't really watched the player play, but I've mostly heard good things about him. The negative things I've heard were basically his stamina and his inability to put in very intense work rates. I don't know if I asked the right person, but I asked a few Barcelona fans, and one of which is my brother. He was really upset when he learned that this deal happened. He thinks it's a robbery.
Yeah, that's the sentiment that I'm getting from anyone I've spoken to that supports Barca is they're just baffled, baffled by this deal. They can't figure it out, but it's strictly the books. They have to write their books, and they're not going to do it with the older guys. And that's the thing, right? So it's tough. They're in a situation, like I said, similar to Juve's, maybe a little bit deeper because of some of the deals they made. And I think they're feeling the intense pressure of a mercado with the after the post-pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Post-pandemic mercado kind of changed the entire landscape for all clubs. It has completely changed the landscape, and
Yeah.
they're just feeling the squeeze. And I think yeah, I think they were at a situation where it's like they would be risking a lot to wait to try and see if they could make it work any other way when they have this right in front of them. So yeah, it's a tough one. It's a really, really tough one, but yeah, it's a big win for Juve. As far as the players go, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, now, of course, obviously, Artur has said he does not want to play. You know, he wants to focus on the new journey ahead with Juve. Um,
Yeah.
and you've heard fans kind of coming from both angles, but saying, well, that's not very professional of him, you know, and I, I don't really know. I think it's tough to make that call when you haven't been behind the scenes to see how he was, you know, how it all went down, because he's been adamant about how much he's wanted to stay at Barcelona.
Yeah.
So to feel pushed out, number one, if I was the club, I wouldn't be playing him, because I'd be like, we just pushed this guy out, we moved him out, and to ask of a, you know, 150% performance from this guy who we just pushed out the door seems odd. So to me, I wouldn't even do
Yeah.
it anyways as a club. As a player, I'm sure if he's asked, he's going to go out there and play, but he said, you know what? I wouldn't mind if I can, you know, sit it out and focus on the new task ahead. And to be
Yeah.
honest, the other thing we have to think about here too is injuries. Is there still an obligation to finalize this, you know, and see it through should one of these guys pick up an injury? And, you know, hopefully not, but what if it's a serious injury and one of them takes it? Is this deal still locked in? We don't know these deals, right? We don't know the
Yeah.
terms. But it's all something to consider. And the strange thing with Pjanic is he seems a hell of a lot better since the deal went through. You know, it's raw, but I
Yeah.
want you to talk on this. I want you to talk on what a strange scenario where this deal is done and these players are still at their respective clubs. And how do you feel about Arthur saying he doesn't want to participate? And what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Well, initially, when I heard these statements, I took it with a grain of salt. I was kind of, I didn't like them, but I went back and I remembered that one of the Juventus transfer policies is if a player wants to leave, he may leave. And this is the same thing. If a player doesn't want to arrive, then look elsewhere. There's so many different players out there. It's all about the motivation and the desire to play at the end. But then I started to think more on this subject, and this is just a business to most people. So, and I understand the frustration of the player. I don't think his intentions were to attack Juventus or say or say something negative about them, but it's more about the player arriving from Gremio a year back and then going through the journey of adaptation in a new league and a new system and doing a lot of work. And he's been thrown out the door as the sacrificial lamb. So I really do understand why he would be upset when there's so many other players, in my opinion, who should be pushed away. But maybe it's due to his price tag and he and the Barcelona management maybe are thinking they can find a replacement, or they've spent so much money in the past years with panic buys like Dembele, and this is all triggered from the Neymar sale.
Yeah.
So one mess up from the Barcelona management back in the day is, and they're still cleaning up after it.
Yeah. That's exactly what's gone down. You know, they've just created this mess.
Yeah,
But you know, I understand why Arthur would make that stand and say that he wants to sit out. I fully understand. I've been very vocal about how I wanted Juve to look elsewhere when I was hearing how adamant he was on staying at Barcelona and never acknowledged Juve's existence throughout all the rumors. But I understand when the terms of this deal came out, why Juventus pushed so hard. You know, this
Yeah.
is a huge, huge deal for us that allows us to do so much more this Mercado.
Yeah.
It really, really solved an issue while allowing us to continue to solve that issue even more without being
Yeah.
hindered so much on that first move. And I had made comments about, Tonali being linked more with Merda than Juve and stuff like that. And my thoughts were this Pjanic deal, and I've said it, people can check the podcasts. I felt this was always going to be that first piece for Juventus. And the rest of what happened would be based off what happens with Pjanic.
Yeah.
That always to me seemed like the key move that would dictate and determine where all the other pieces fall. And it looks like that is the case. So now we're all just going to go through the fun of hearing a ton of rumors and seeing what happens and where the chips may lie. The interesting
Yeah.
thing is with these players that we have out, Pellegrini for one, Luca Pellegrini, we brought up his name. We're going through a scenario now where, like I said, this post-pandemic has changed everything. So players that we have on loan, those loans are over. And now we are signing loans to extend them for the remainder of the games now that are remaining.
Yeah.
So the strange thing is there, you know, we should almost be taking Pellegrini back if we have the opportunity to now, you know, but I understand in terms of business, that could really hurt us with these other clubs that you might have to do business with in the future to not allow them to actually have that player for the remainder of that season, which would have been the original terms of the deal. So
Yeah.
while the fan in me and my heart, is saying take Pellegrini back, don't extend that loan, business wise, and just it not even business wise, it's just right because if it was happening to us and we had a player that was on loan and he was rightfully on loan for us for the remainder of the season and then a team wouldn't extend it for us, I would be very pissed off. So I can understand Juve just re-signing those loans and making it wash. But Luca Pellegrini has been rumored as one of the names that they're going to sell to keep that plus Valenza and that positive in the books coming. How do you feel about
Yeah.
that?
Well, in general, most of the sales they made, they turned out to be right in making those sales at the end. Like if you look long term, I was really frustrated when they sold Moise Kean. If you look at it now, I think it's great that we made some money out of him. And Spinazzola, for example, I really had high hopes in him, but to be fair, he was really injury prone to be useful for the team. So Luca Pellegrini, I think he has like 6 assists, and I noticed he's very he's a very good player, and I think he would add so much to the team, and he can help us with Alexandro's inconsistency. But if they decide to sell him and make that cash, then I wouldn't really be opposed. But the important thing is to find a decent replacement for the first team, because most of these loan players are going to be bargaining chips, in my opinion.
Yeah, but that's the thing is we're using guys as bargaining chips and we're even saying when things go wrong with these guys' career, like even Moise Kean. Moise Kean went on a ridiculous tear for us. He was crucial for us down that stretch, scoring crazy goals. We sell him to Everton, and then because things go terrible there because of their own situation as well, and he's not happy, and obviously it affects performance and everything. And Moise Kean had some off the field issues, which were actually controlled pretty well with Juve. But I don't think you can compare those situations. I don't think you could say if Moise Kean stayed at Juve that that same scenario would have played out. I don't think so. I think you have two different clubs with two completely different ways of operating, and Juve just doesn't stand for that kind of crap, really. And they always had enough guys in their dressing room to keep this guy in line and keep him in check. Everton didn't have that. So he went to Everton, part of this signing. They hype him up. They make this big thing. He was potting goals for Juve towards the end, and he goes in there high-headed, and nobody put him in his place. Like, nobody. And when it wasn't working out for him and he had to adapt to that league and he thought he would just go in there and be ripping him, it didn't pan out. And then everything started heating up. His relationship with coach, everything. It just kind of crumbled. So I don't really necessarily say we can say that because it didn't work out when they go to these other clubs, that's exactly why Juve should have got rid of them. Spinazzola, even with everybody want to talk about his injuries, he's played a ton for Roma this year, and he's been good. And he's played a ton for them. And again, it's just they made those moves because they couldn't move Sami Khedira, Higuain, Mandzukic, like the list goes on. That's why they made those moves. I think, honestly, not all of them, but one of those two guys for sure would have stayed if they weren't handcuffed. Like, and it's tough when you see these things happen and then everybody says, well, yeah, Juve was right in getting rid of them because look what happened. But I don't think those situations are the same. And I think we kind of almost were short selling Juve's ability in how we get players to kind of buy in to the program and what we're trying to do. I like to think that part of it is still very much alive. And I think it's going to help the fact that we've got Gigi and Giorgio signed for another year, because that's exactly what they're there for. Now, in terms of playing, you're not going to see a lot out of those guys, but they will be quality minutes. But they're there for that because they are the Stripes.
Locker room leaders.
Yeah, they are the Stripes. They will be the ambassadors for the club and what they're trying to achieve and how to settle in at Juve and how to fit in and what it's going to be like at Juve. So, it's a tough one when you come to transfers and you look at this. I personally feel Juve needs to balance the younger guys and the experienced guys because we got a little heavy on the experience. And I think now we're starting to see, and it came to light against Ajax in the Champions League. We looked old. We just looked old. It looked like we were on tired legs. We couldn't go anymore. We just need a little injection of energy and attitude and get that going. And that's one of the things over the past couple of games, which have this last one especially being much, much better to watch, much more fluid from Juve, but it was the attitude. It was the attitude and approach that I noticed. And then naturally, everything picked up. The tempo in our play, the fluidity, guys moving, like just being options for the ball and whatnot. That's the big thing. We just need that energy. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening, but it looks like they're making a strong shift towards some younger guys. Ferran Torres now heavily linked with Juve. That would be a great signing, in my opinion. Your thoughts? Your thoughts on Torres there?
I didn't watch him play that much, but I think it's really important to have a right-footed winger on the team and someone who's not Ronaldo, someone who can play like really on the edge of the wing, because we're gonna have Kulusevski on the right, and Torres is able to play on the left, and I don't really know what's gonna happen with Costa and Bernardeschi beyond the season, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have these options, and getting them young and really really helps out with our strategy and getting rid of these Khediras and Higuains, and
Yeah.
hopefully not Matuidi, because I don't see him staying on for a very long time, maybe a year or two.
Yeah. Well, that's my kind of sentiments too, is just I am for getting these guys when they're young. I will always be for taking chances on the younger guys rather than getting these older guys and then it doesn't work out, because there's no resale there. You've literally just, there's nothing to gain at any point for that. If you take a chance on some of these younger guys, you can get bailed out because they still hold their value. Look at Bernardeschi as a prime example. Bernardeschi still holds good value. And because of player amortization on the contracts and stuff, we can sell them for positives still. So I'd always be up for that as opposed to the opposite. Before we get into the fun game we're going to play to wrap up this pod, it's been awesome touching on these topics with you. I want to get your thoughts and your predictions. Serie A, Juventus, where will they finish? Abdul.
Yeah.
Okay, Serie A, Juventus, where will they finish?
First.
Excellent. Champions League.
Champions League final.
We're going to make the final.
Yeah, because of the expectations are super low, so.
Wow, there you go. We're going to win it?
I'm not sure. I didn't say that, but
I made a prediction.
Maybe another final.
And I said the next Champions League final Juve makes it in, we will win. So if it is this one, we're winning it. We will not lose the next one whenever it comes. The next one Juve makes it in, they're going to win it.
Especially that it's going to be in Portugal, and it's going to be very unusual circumstances.
Yeah.
So maybe Juventus win because of that.
Yeah, you betcha. So it's been awesome having you on. This was a great pop-up podcast. I had a lot of fun. We're going to finish up with a fun little game, Juve categories. Now, because we touched on such a hot topic, Arthur, the new signing for Juve, is the 27th Brazilian to play for Juventus. So the category that we are going to tackle is Brazilian players that have played for Juve. And what we're going to do is we're going to take turns and we're going to try to see how many Brazilian players we can name that were a part of Juventus. Do you want to kick us off, Abdul?
Sure, but I need to warn you that I'm terrible at these games.
That's fine. We're just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Kick us off.
Okay, Alexandro.
Okay, we'll say Costa.
Neto.
Okay, Danilo.
Sorry for this, but Amauri.
Amauri.
Yeah.
Okay. Dani Alves.
Again, Felipe Melo.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got to a bad place in my mind.
With Brazilians. Emerson.
Yeah. Okay, can't think of anyone, but nope.
I think I've got like two more, maybe.
Two more.
I think I've got two more I can
Oh
think.
wait, Romulo.
Who?
Remember that guy? Romulo. I think we got him from LS Verona. The guy who played right back, center mid.
Romulo. Okay. Well, let it go. I can't for some reason. I don't know if he went under something else. Diego.
You know, bro. Diego. Okay. Why didn't I think of that guy? Can't think of anyone. Wait. Lucio.
Oh, there you go.
I'm trying to think of.
I think I'm almost done, man. Lucio,
I just got
had to. We said Melo. You said NATO.
Yes.
Um,
I can give you a hint.
I think we had Rubinho.
Yeah, that's that guy was on my mind.
Nice.
The third goalkeeper. Yeah.
We got to be coming to an. I don't even know how many we've got so far, but I'm think I'm pretty much done. I might. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm.
Do you got
Yeah, I
anybody
think
else?
No, I think that's all.
I wanted to say was the guy you were originally thinking of, was it Rogerio?
Oh, the Sassuolo left back.
Because
Is that what
because
you're thinking of?
he's one of the guys I was thinking of.
I don't think he played for the first team though.
No, but he's one of I think he'll count in the 20 in a list of 27. I'll have to check it after, but Rogerio,
Yeah.
like he's in my mind. That's it, man. I can't think of any more. I'm done. That's
Yeah,
good.
same here.
That's a lot, man. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I didn't imagine we were gonna come up with all these names, to be honest.
No, well, once you and it's always harder when you're on camera, but that's fun, man. That's a good little game. It'll be interesting to pull up the list and actually see all the names of the guys and see who we missed and whatnot. But that's awesome. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for doing this again, Abdul. Thanks for reaching out. It's been a pleasure having you on. We will get you on at some point for a post-match recap episode. But for all you other Juventini, by any means, reach out if you want to just talk general discussion surrounding Juve. I love giving you guys the freedom to come up with the topics, and I'm just all about hearing your opinions. I will touch on it here and there, but I know that everybody loves hearing the All Juve cast for the guests that I have, and I thank each and every one of you who have been a part of this awesome journey. And Abdul, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I will be back with another post-match episode, and there's the one coming out for our most recent match that will be out shortly as well. So keep a lookout for that. Until next time, as always, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao.